Hello, 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 and welcome to LaserBeam Live. This is episode number 40. Yeah, number 40. I got it right this time. I remembered. This is episode number 40. You know the drill. My name is Ikenna for CNC Labs. And whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night, I appreciate you spending just a little bit of your time with me. And if you're watching this back, I appreciate you watching this back. If you're watching this live, I appreciate you just a little bit more. Don't tell the rest of them. What are we doing today? Actually, okay, let me slow down. Let's get into the company news. What's happening behind the scenes? What's moving? What's shaking? How you doing? Jack in the shop, our resident laser demon. He was the first in today in the chat. Nicholas, thank you for joining us. Gary, thank you. Doug E, thank you very much. My man, Jack in the shop. My man. What is happening in the company? We got the SLB launch where Chris is working hard on packaging, trying to do what he can now with our operations team to make sure that once the boards arrive, that it's going to be a smooth sailing in order to ship those. And we're going to be working on a plan to get those out with new long mills plus the pre-orders. So that is a very fun time. We have the alt mill. The alt mill was slowly going along, and then boom, once certain things started to click, it just like went off, and now we are 100% to the races. We're going to be taking pre-orders very, very, very soon. Andy's on a trip right now, but he's still working very hard to make sure that the alt mill launch is going to be a fun time. Pre-orders. If you didn't watch the video on our YouTube channel, watching the alt mill, guys, you know me. I'm a laser guy. I'm a CNC laser guy. But when I tell you, when I saw how fast the alt mill can plunge into certain materials can route like aluminum, like just the speed in which this thing can move, the rigidity, the speed, like it is mind blowing how fast, like the same ethos, the same energy that we wanted for the CO2 laser to the laser diode. This is what the alt mill is to the long mill. It is a brand new platform, more speed, more rigidity. Watch the video, and if I am wrong, then come back and tell me I'm wrong, but I won't be, because you'll watch that video and you'll definitely want one. Doesn't mean that you're gonna get one, doesn't mean that you need one, but you'll definitely want one. And that's the exact feeling that we wanted for the alt mill. And our amazing engineers, our CEO and leader, Andy, and the entire team in the back end was able to put this together. So everybody's very excited. If you go to the video on our YouTube channel for the alt mill, you can watch it. You can also go click on our landing page for the alt mill, get more information. We have blogs coming out, and then keep your eyes peeled. Sign up for the email. Sign up for the email list, because that is the best way to stay up to date. It's the best way to know exactly when pre-orders go live, to make sure that you're going to be in batch one, because this is going to be just like all of our other projects where they're going to be batched. So whether it's 50 starting units, then 500, or 50, then 100, then 50, then 1,000, doesn't matter, but these are going to be batched, and shipping is going to ship according to the batch. So sign up for the email list. Make sure you stay up to date, so that the moment we are ready to open a pre-order, you are ready to purchase if you would like one. And I know if you watch the video, you're gonna want one. So go ahead and do that. That is my plug of the day. Yeah, and we are estimated. We are estimating. We are we are using our professional judgment, our estimation skills, to say that we probably will be shipping July, hopefully earlier, but don't hate us if it's later. This is just a guess to give you a rough idea on when you can start planning your shop after you place your pre-order. So you know us. When you pre-order something from us, you will get it. And we are usually pretty good on target. And if we aren't, then we usually update you. And sometimes we ship early, so you never really know. Stay up to date. And that is the rest. That is my plug for today. Okay, I'm done. Salesman, let's calm down. The salesman is leaving my body. Now I'm just a guy who likes firing lasers and making projects. So what are we doing today? Hey, we got Adam from Boko in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. This guy, he makes things organized, makes things beautiful. He makes some really cool. There's a special like blend of like engineer and artist that sometimes you meet people, and it's like those are my favorite types of engineers, because I'm like a wannabe engineer, but it's the engineer artist combination that like really intrigues me. And Adam at Boko is definitely one of those engineer artists with like really cool ideas. So thanks for joining me. Hans, thank you for joining the chat. Thank you so much. What are we doing today? We're doing a sister project to our our YouTube channel. Scott, full-time content creator, he made an amazing electric guitar. Go watch that project if you haven't. Even if you're not gonna make an electric guitar, it's really cool to see the Long Mill make these like really intricate and big projects. It's just cool to see what the actual machine can do. Even if you plan to never make something so intricate, maybe something that he uses, maybe a way he organizes the tool path or something might give you some ideas for your own project. So definitely go watch that. But today, we get to do the simple side of things. Nothing too complex, but we're just gonna make a little guitar pick, right? So Scott's making the guitar. We're just gonna cut out some guitar picks from some 3mm opaque black acrylic. Remember, you can only cut opaque acrylic with the blue diode laser. You have to wait for our CO2 laser before you can cut all sorts of acrylics. It won't actually matter. I'm very excited. As soon as we get a working prototype, maybe prototype number 2, I will replace this Long Mill with a CO2 laser, and we will start doing CO2 laser jobs on the channel, but that'll be very much closer to pre-orders, right? So let's relax there. Bill, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we're making a guitar pick out of black acrylic. So something super simple. We're gonna put some text or a design. We're gonna create the shape. So I'm gonna show you how to actually like play with polygons and stuff in Lightburn, because I feel like we don't do too much design. And over the past couple like streams, I like the fact that we're less about how to run the laser. We have 30 to 40 streams about how to run the laser. We're always running the laser, but sometimes we speed run the actual design process. So I like picking these very simple projects where we get to use some of the tools, like the design tools within Lightburn, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're not going to obviously you can Google designs and you can grab little 2D files, outlines, SVGs, vector files, and just like engrave and do whatever you want, cut that. But I want to just make the shape from scratch and feel it out. And maybe we can make longer picks, shorter picks. We can make maybe like 3 different variations, throw some text on it to engrave, see how the engraving is going to look on the black acrylic, and run that. So this, again, will be a pretty short stream. I think these streams are getting more compact, more shorter, but yeah. So before we jump into Lightburn, I'm going to give you one last update on our CO2 laser. Guys, I feel like a kid again. I'm screwing things. I'm like back at the workshop, like making and prototyping, and it's been a long time since I've been excited to build something with my own hands and design it, and that's what the CO2 laser is giving me right now. So it's been a very exciting time. You can check out our YouTube channel for the Vortex riser mount, guys. I made this design in like July or August when after the Vortex launched. I made a little riser mount for the LaserBeam because you need the extra height if you want to use the laser on the actual Vortex. So I made this mount, and in our open source fashion, I didn't have time to actually put up the website, put up the resources, show you how to use the offset tool. So I did it in a stream. I released the designs on our resources to be open source so you guys could make it, whether it was 3D printing it, whether it was using your laser and some acrylic to cut it out, or whether it was routing it out of whatever material you wanted. I put that up for a while, but you know, you guys, I think I told you guys, I hired a co-op student a couple months ago. His name is Abeku, and he is very talented and very good. So he was able to compile all the resources, get that up, compile the resource for the G-Sender offset. So it's like you can use the offset for whatever you want to use it for, but it just blends, and the use case is very synergetic with the actual Vortex mount, because now you can just flip from laser to router, and doesn't matter which mount. We have all like the basic offsets in the actual resource page. And he released a video, and he's a natural talent. I felt so proud. Okay, I knew when I hired him that he was a good engineer and he knew how to talk, but it's a very rare talent to be able to explain things and be very comfortable on video, and he was a natural talent. So guys, if you have a Vortex, you have a LaserBeam, you need a riser so that you can engrave some cool stuff. I know somebody said that they wanted to engrave a bowl and they needed the height. So you can also do that even if you're not using the Vortex. If you just need that extra height on the LaserBeam, this is what this is for. It raises it quite a bit and gives you that extra height. CO2 laser, I'm prototyping number 1. We have moving X-axis, moving Y-axis, moving Z-axis. We just put together the water pump system. It's temporary because we will be selling these things with a water chiller. But for now, we're just going to use a little makeshift water pump that I'm putting together. Yeah, so we will be firing the CO2 laser tube for the first time tomorrow, and I'm very, 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 very excited. Like I said, I feel like a kid engineering or designing and workshopping and doing all these things with my hands. It throws me back. That's like the super fun part of product design, to me at least. And then we get into like, supply chain and testing and government approval and compliance and all that fun stuff, which is fun, but it's just not as fun and not as not as nostalgic as just like grabbing some tools and working it out and things not working, but just making it work and trying new things. And yeah, there's something very beautiful about that. That's why I got into this industry. It's why I got into product development and all that fun stuff. So I'm very excited. You guys will have a video on the CO2 prototype very soon. I'm so excited. And if you're excited, then we're going to have a good time. You guys are going to watch it. You guys are going to be like, oh my God, I need this thing. And I'm going to be like, okay, just wait. We'll put up a pre-order link and then you guys are going to buy it and it's going to be a great time. And then this will become the CO2 Laser Beam Live, whatever the name is. I know what the name is, but I'm not going to tell you guys yet. We will tell you soon once it's confirmed and everything. But I know what the name for the CO2 laser is going to be. And we're going to flip this live stream into the CO2 Laser Live so that we can start doing projects like that. I know, compliance is the worst. Jack, you're right. Compliance is the work, but I already did so much of the legwork for the LaserBeam that I kind of like, I'm like the de facto compliance guy now. So like I had to like dive right back in and it was a good time. So like it was like 8 weeks of like a little bit unsure about certain things and then like hyper focus and research from like December to end of January. And now I feel very comfortable to make sure that we file everything we need to file with the FDA. We're good with the FCC because certain wireless stuff and potential for wireless interference and stuff like that. And we'll be all good for EU conformity and all that fun stuff to make sure that we can ship to Europe. Obviously Canada because we're located in Canada, and obviously the US. And as long as we comply to most like regular IEC regulations, then we're going to be all good. We're going to have all of our testing reports ready to go. If any agency wants to come and test or come and check our results and make sure that we are compliant and conforming to what we say we are, we'll have all that ready to go. So it's not a fun time, but it's kind of like part of the gig. It's like part of my job at this point, so I don't mind it as much as I did the first time around. Okay, that was enough. Okay, I'm done. I feel like I just talked for about 40 minutes, but it's only been 12. Let's get to designing. We got Lightburn up here, and this is going to be a simple project, guys, so feel free. If you guys have any questions, whether it's related to the alt mill, the super longboard, the CO2 laser, Lightburn, LaserBeam, it doesn't matter. Just throw your questions in the chat while I design this, and it'll be a fun time. So actually, today we're going to be using the shape properties tool in order to make this. So I'm just going to I'm going to grab the polygon. So create regular polygon. Anybody looked at replacing the laser driver top fan to be quieter? Unfortunately, not. My time is not spent with the LaserBeam anymore, but I think what I'm going to do moving forward is every term, every 4 months, I'm going to hire a new co-op student to put some focus and some love back into the LaserBeam while I'm focusing on the CO2 laser, because I don't want it to die. And you've seen what our current student has been able to do, our current engineering co-op student, and like I have enough time to manage them and lead them and point them in directions, and then they have enough time on like the daily basis to work towards these things. So you're able to get the Vortex resources out and video out, and now he's working on the magnetic mount that we talked about like probably like a year ago, and then I started working on it 6 months ago, and then I kind of dropped it for the CO2. So he's going to make sure that that gets launched before April. After that, we will probably redesign the driver case. We can look into a quieter fan. We're going to make sure that the new redesigned driver case has mounting holes so that you guys can mount it in whatever ways that you want, similar to the longboard or the super longboard. And then maybe we'll do like a venting system or something like that. Yeah, Justin Smith says, I replaced the driver fan with a Noctua that cut the whine down some. I actually did my testing with a Noctua. They're just expensive. So yeah, like they're expensive. They're not expensive one-off, right? So you guys can go on Amazon and buy a Noctua fan for like $10 or $20 or something. They're very nice. The packaging is very nice. It's very quiet. It has like, it's a very high quality fan, and you guys can get them on Amazon, and you guys can replace them to quiet it down some. But on a one-to-one basis, on terms of like BOM costs, like bill of materials, like for a LaserBeam, it was just too expensive to justify the increase. Because then we just have to pass that increase onto you guys. So not only like the per item cost, but then the shipping cost and all that stuff, we would just have to pass that on. And our fans never really had reliability issues. Like the fans we went with, they didn't have reliability issues. It was just the sound, right? And then the enclosure creates this almost like cocoon-like structure. But what you can do is we can try working on like a grill So maybe I'll design, or I'll have our student design a 3D printed grill, because a grill does cut down on the noise. If you ever like, if you take your hand and like, you open up your fingers and you put that over the fan, so allowing airflow through, but like maybe your fingers are covering up half the surface area like that, you'll notice that your fan goes considerably quieter. So maybe there's like a guard that we can create that will actually allow this thing to be a little bit quieter. But guys, if you want a quick way to make it quieter, you can buy a different fan. A Noctua is pretty good, keeps things pretty quiet. Okay, back to Lightburn. Thanks for the question, Justin. And thanks for the question, Nicholas, and thanks for the input, Justin Smith. So I clicked on the create regular polygon, and I'm just gonna make this. It defaults to 6 sides. So guys, if you go to tools, if you go to window at the top, you just make sure that shape properties is selected. If it's not selected, then select it. If it is selected, then you will see it down here next to your tabs here: cut and layers, move, console, variable text, and shape properties. So if you go to shape properties, I can actually just you can actually edit the properties of the shape very easily without actually like doing much design work here. So it says it has 6 sides. I can drop it down to 3 because I want this to be somewhat the shape of a guitar pick. I can change the height. So yeah, I like that height. And then the width, be a little bit smaller. So let's map out how big we want this. So how wide do we want this pick? Maybe 25 millimeters. And then how long do we want this pick? Maybe 25 by 25, to be honest. So the width can be 25 millimeters, and the height can be 25 millimeters. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty simple. So I'm gonna make that 0, 0 in the coordinates here, so it drops down to the corner. And then I want to round the edges. So we want to use one of these tools. I'm gonna select my thing here, and then we're gonna click corners to round them. So we're gonna click on this tool down here, and if you hover over any tool, it'll give you a description of what it does. So this says click corner to round them, and it's set at 10 degrees. So I'm just gonna see what that looks like by just clicking a corner. Oh, that was way too many degrees, so I'm just gonna undo that, and I'm gonna drop that to maybe 2. And let's try that again. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So let's do the other corner, or let's click our radius again, and then click the other corner, and then last, click the radius again, and click our other corner. So boom, we got a little pick, right? And it's pretty equal on all ends, but let's make a few different styles just to see. Like, we don't know what type of playing style we like. I played guitar once, maybe a little bit. I taught myself a little bit of guitar, so I know that different people like different pick sizes, different pick thicknesses. And obviously, I wouldn't play directly with this. Sometimes you might actually want an even thinner piece of acrylic. But it all depends on how you like to play with your picks. So thicknesses shouldn't be a problem because picks are never too thick. But again, you can cut up to like 1/4 inch with the laser, especially opaque black acrylic. It's not too hard to cut. It's probably gonna be like 6, 7 passes. But with our 3mm, it's gonna be like 2.5, 3 passes because I'm elevating my piece off my waste material. And as you guys learned over the past like 5 or 6 streams, when we elevate our waste material, it makes cutting extremely easy. We cut down like by like a pass or 2 on cutting. So I'm gonna remake this and make it with different properties here. So I'm using the shape properties tool. I'm changing that to 3 sides. It's gonna do 25mm width, but I'm gonna do a 40mm height. So that's the difference. Oh, let me get rid of that. So yeah, that's gonna be the difference on this. And then I'm gonna round it with 1 inch. With a radius of 1. Actually, I'm gonna round Let's see what a radius of 3 looks like. Do we like that? I'll do a radius of 2 on the bottom. Let's see that. 3 on the top corners, a radius of 2 on the bottom. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to change this position to, wrong one. Let's change this position to 0. And we could save space like that. And then let's do one more. Guys, how do you want this last one? Let me know how you want me to make this last one. Is there anything specific styles of pics that you guys want? Let's make this like difference in, let's keep the ratio of this, but let's make it smaller, okay? So I'm gonna pick that. So I'm gonna change the size to 3. I'm gonna change the width to 25. Or actually, I'm gonna change it from 20 to 30, height to 30. So it's still this off, it's not equilateral here. It's still a bit different, and then we'll play with the radii, the radiuses. Let's try 1. 1, 1, 1. Okay, that is good. I'm very happy with that. Let's throw some designs on them, because why keep it so boring? Hey, we got Bucky's Customs Dana in the chat. Guys, go check out his YouTube channel. He makes great tutorials. Also, go check out Jack in the Shop's YouTube channel. He makes great tutorials on all this fun stuff that we all like doing, CNCs and lasers and all that fun stuff. Go check them both out. All right, so I'm going to change the color of this. Or first, I'm going to move this to 0, 0. Then let's move this. Then let's move this over. Okay, now I'm going to change the color so that we can map out our cutting settings. So let's click back to the tab of cut and layers, change this to red. We're going to set this to 2.5 millimeters per second, 100% power, and we can get away with 3 passes, but just in case, I'm going to put 4. Yeah, I don't mind putting 4. And then Z-step per pass, 4 passes, we got 0.7, yep, so 3 millimeters. And then actually I'll raise the speed because we're adding an extra pass, so I think I'll raise the speed. And if we need to, we'll just run it again, because I know it's going to get close to cutting out within, at 2 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters per second, it's going to get close to cutting out within between 2 and 3 passes. So if I'm raising the speed, that means I'm inversely like lowering the power without actually technically lowering the power. The relationship is inversely related. So because I'm raising the speed to 3 millimeters per second, I think 4 passes will be good. So it'll be running faster, but it's going to do an extra pass. So that should be equivalent. This is just a guess, and hopefully I'm right. But I'm essentially equating 2.5 passes at 2.5 millimeters per second for 3 millimeters per second at 4 passes, or like 3.5 passes it'll cut out. And I'm elevating my material, so I'll actually watch it cut out. But because there's 3 different shapes, if it cuts one out and it drops and it still has like a pass or 2 to go, normally like you don't want that to happen, right? So if that happens and there's no other cut shapes I need to cut, I'll just I'll save that for the end sometimes, so that I can stop it when I see it cut through, or I can just speed it up. As soon as it cuts through, I'll override the speed in G-Sender so that it passes faster, because I don't want to start a fire or anything or damage my material, because if it cut out, I don't know where that's going to drop. It might shift a little bit and be in the line of the laser, and then it might actually be marking my my cutout piece. So guys, you have to be aware of that. It is better to elevate your material, because then you get to watch it drop down. But when you are wrong about the passes, let's say you have an extra pass and it already dropped down, then you have to be aware that it might screw up your material. It also might be a fire hazard, or yeah, so just keep that in mind and be vigilant, okay? Especially, like, never leave your laser running unattended, but be very vigilant, okay? Why don't we throw a design in these things? Yeah, why don't we throw our trusty our trusty Basquiat's. It's a little dark. Let's grab another one. I'll just open up a bunch and then we can pick from there. It's black acrylic, but sometimes designs will show up pretty nicely in black acrylic. Let's grab it. Let's try a different one. I'm looking for like the most contrast, guys. Always be like thinking about contrast when you're trying to engrave stuff. And obviously we can change contrast, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking about when I see these. I'm like, what's going to be very interesting to look at after it's engraved in terms of the contrast. Okay, I'm just going to choose this one, at least for one of the picks. Maybe we can do 3 individual ones, but at least for one, I will pick this. It's an image. I'm going to make sure it's selected as black. So we have our 130 millimeters per second at 100% power, Jarvising. That looks good. I'm gonna drop this down, hover this over. So got our image. And then I'm going, so I selected my line, my actual shape, and then I selected my image, and then I'm gonna apply mask to image. So now, when I deselect that, now my image. So we'll get the eyes in there, make it get that nice and creepy. I like that. I'm gonna move the shape just back to 0 and 0, just so it is aligned a little bit better. How do I need to select the line, not this image. I'm just gonna select this and go 0, 0. 0, 0. There we go. Nice creepy Basquiat pick. Somebody said put the CNC logo. I would if I had it right now, but I really don't want to have to go look for it, and I don't have the file on my computer right now, but I would. Let's import another. Let's just see what files we have here, because I'm lazy, and maybe next time we'll do CNC label. We got the Miles Morales. It's always a classic. Oh, whoops. Don't want to rotate it. I just want to change the size here. Just going to make that nice and small. And then because this has like a transparent background, I probably don't even have to like mask it, but I will anyways. smaller so that he fits completely. Oh, I feel like that looks really, really cool. So I will select the line here, my shape, and then select my image, and then right click and click apply mask to image. So you see his shoe. See his shoe gets cut off, and that's the only, like, that's not going to be engraved because whatever's outside this image that we selected is not showing up. So let's find out what other image files we got in our little LaserBeam Live folder. You know, we'll do some text. We'll do some text, and on it we'll put "pick me." a little some dad humor, a little punnage, some pun action. Okay, and we will select it, and we will lower the height so we can fit it in there. What do we have here? 5 millimeters per second. That works. Let's double check our settings here. We have it at fill and 30 or 25 millimeters per second. Let's just turn it to 30. It's black acrylic. I don't know how well this is going to engrave, but I feel like it'll look interesting. So we are good. We got our images, we got our text, we got our pics. We used the shape properties in Lightburn to actually create our shape, and we used the radius function to curve the edges, add radius to them. Yeah, we are ready. Tar Pix version 1. Let's go. You know, we always make simple mistakes, and we always have to do probably a version 2 and version 3 most of the time. So let's open this up in GSender. So I am, again, I'm still using our super longboard. So again, I'm kind of a beta tester at this point because I've been using it for the past, like, obviously we did like direct testing with the laser, and Johan did direct testing, and Chris did direct testing, and we have other beta testers, official beta testers who did a lot of direct testing with the laser. But I have one of the most recent boards, so I'm just continuing to use it on the live stream, and I'm essentially continuing to be a beta tester, because if I find it, like, I haven't ran into any issues, and so I'm very happy about that. So I'm glad I'm kind of a proof of concept for what you guys are ordering on your end, where I'm using the exact board, or actually probably like a version behind that you guys are going to be using in the end. So hopefully that gives you guys confidence. So I'm already focused on my end. So I don't really need to do much. I'm just going to turn on the laser so I know where I'm starting. Right about there. Looks good. Feel pretty happy about that. I'm all zeroed out. And I'm going to go ahead and start the job. So let's go. So starting with a cut, again, because I'm raised off my material, I'm going to keep an eye on my cut so that I know when things drop through, so that I'm not engraving too much. Oh no. Oh, guys. Okay, I stopped it, guys. Guys, who knows what we did wrong? I feel like we do this all the time, but who knows what we did wrong here? What happened here? Can anybody tell me? I'll be so happy if somebody tells me, what did we do wrong? Why did I stop this job? Why did I stop this job? Engrave, yes. Gary was the first. You have to engrave first when your material is raised. You have to engrave first. Gary C was the first. Jack was the second. And then Doug was the third. You have to engrave first. If your material is raised and you know it's going to drop down, you have to engrave first, right? And I feel like I make this decision a lot. Bill also got it correct. Yeah, I always make this mistake. Like I said, there's always version 1, version 2, and it's always little things like this. So I'm just going to put myself everything back to 0. And yeah, I have to engrave first. And these picks look very small, so I'm actually gonna increase the size of them because I saw how big it was, and I don't think these things are big enough. So I'm just gonna select everything, and I'm going to increase the size. You know, that probably feels a lot better. Maybe that. Okay. So that, and then we have to engrave before we cut. There we go. So we're all fixed here. So I can save G-code again. I am just going to save it as Guitar Picks version 1 because I can't really use version 2 of it anyways. So I do kind of want to just replace it in my files so I don't accidentally ever run this by accident again. So now we increase the size and we got the order right. Oh, I messed up the Guitar Pick version 1. There we go. So we got bigger and order of operations correct. There we go. So I'm going to move my laser over to the side. The whole job was about probably like 60, or this one is 70. So I'm back at my 0, so I'm going to move it over 70 so that I clear it so I don't cut over, because it did mark up my material and almost cut all the way through. So I'm going to put 70 in my X and Y move the X 70 millimeters this way, 0 it all there. I'll move my camera so you guys can see a little bit better. There we go. So we're all zeroed. I moved it over, so we're not going to hit any of the stuff that we did before. I'm just going to shine the laser so I know where I'm starting really quickly at 1%, and we're all good. So we should be all good. I got the right file this time, got the right order, and I raised my size here, so we should be all good. Why do we not feel all good? Why do I not feel all good? Because this looks like 20 millimeters here. This is supposed to be 25, but I also increased the size, so I feel like it should be larger. Huh. Huh. I'm gonna go larger. You know what? I'm happy with that. How big is this? This height is 35. I'm gonna go a little bit larger. Standard pick is 28 millimeters. Okay, we'll use that. So we got a width of 28, and all right, that's not bad. So I'm just gonna, just a little bit. So we got a width of 26, 27, or this one's about 30. And yeah, okay, this seems good. Guitar Picks V1. All right, let's just, this is the last time, I promise, guys. We're about to run this for real. For realsies, I swear. Oh my god, I misspelled this. Trying to override the file like twice. I misspelled it twice. Each time with a different mistake. Okay, this seems good. I like this size. This sizing seems good. I'm zeroed, I'm focused, I'm all good to go. Let's do this. My order is correct. We're engraving first. Let's give you guys a better view of that. Guys, just a reminder that engraving acrylic smells not great, okay? I'm just gonna be very honest with you guys. Engraving acrylic smells not great. I'm filtering all this through, but I'm even still gonna open the window a little bit because I know it's not perfectly sealed. So I'm just gonna open the window just a little bit to let in just a little bit of air, even though I do have pre-filter and carbon filter. Because the smell is just not too fun. The engraving does look good though. Yeah, acrylic has this weird engraving style, and every acrylic is a little bit different, but it always has this weird engraving style that looks either, like sometimes it just comes out really, really cool. I have a feeling these will come out really, really nice. Black acrylic is just the easiest to cut at least, and depending on what the secondary layer of the acrylic or what the heat, sometimes the heat of the laser plus the layering of the acrylic will create this like two-tone effect with the engraving, right? So we had some of the green stuff, and when we engraved that, it turned like this white, like the second layer was white, so the contrast was like green and white, which looked really cool. But it all depends. Different acrylic manufacturers, different different types, different manufacturers of acrylic have different results. Different colors of acrylic have different results. So it's all about trial and error there. So this stuff is 3 millimeters opaque acrylic. So guys, you can only engrave opaque acrylic, and the darker it is, the easier it's going to be to engrave. You guys remember when I was trying to do the baby blue opaque acrylic, and that stuff was horrendous. We were doing pass after pass after pass, and it was not a fun time. And then I thought it was my settings or my laser until I just threw a dark green acrylic, and all of a sudden it cut perfectly, right? Within two and a half passes. So I realized that different color, you only can cut opaque acrylic, but different colored opaque acrylic, depending on the shade, is going to cut a little bit different. Black obviously being the best because I think it absorbs all the light. So we're almost on the first engraving, and then it's going to do the cutting, or maybe it'll engrave all three and then do the cutting after. I think that's probably what it's going to do. That was the order of operations we set, so I imagine it will follow that order of operations. I don't think it's going to be doing any freestyling right now. Yeah, guys. So this, like, imagine this. This is maybe like a 10-minute project on the LaserBeam and long mill, but this would be like a 2-minute, this would be like a 2-minute project on the CO2 laser. And even the LaserBeam on the alt mill, because you can use the LaserBeam on the alt mill, even this would be like, I think like 4 times faster. So CO2 would be like 10 times faster, but even the diode with the alt mill would be like 4 times faster. Yeah, 30 seconds. This would be the quickest project ever on the CO2, and super quick still on the alt mill. This is not a super long project, guys. So how, you guys have any questions? I think we're gonna one try Friday this, even though it's not Friday, it's Thursday, a couple hours to Friday. But I think we're gonna get this first try. Super simple project. Our piece is elevated, our laser is focused. Oh yeah, and CO2 does not care what color acrylic. It can be transparent. It can be it can be 100% transparent, clear. It can be 100% clear, and it'll cut it no problem. You don't have to worry about color or tone or opacity or opaqueness or transparency. None of that. Like, you just cut. It doesn't matter. All right, that was the second. That was our little Spider-Man. Oh, I think. Oh no, because we made this bigger, it overlapped. Our third piece overlapped over the previous marking. So I don't think it cut all the way through. So I think it'll be fine, but yeah, that's not what I wanted. I did not account for making it bigger. I only moved it 70 millimeters, which was the old size of the project. Now it's 90 something, so I should have moved it 90. You wouldn't be able to engrave it on this unless you raised your material very high up. You'd be out of the scope. So the vortex is if your material is very high. So the vortex naturally raises the material very high, and the or if you just have a really thick piece of material that you want to laser, you'll need that extra height, and the vortex naturally puts that extra height there, so you need that as well. But right now, I would not be able to use the vortex. It raises it way too high out of the focal lengths. There might be, if I raise my router to the very tippity top. Actually, no, I would not. I just don't think there's enough room if I actually put the vortex on it. Yeah, so maybe I'll run this last one again, but the first two are good, but maybe I'll run that last little pick again, because it overlapped on our old stuff, and yeah, it just doesn't look great because it has like lines through it. But maybe I'll run that one again, but the other two should be fine. So what I'll do right now is I'll save my file, and then I'll separate the last pick so that I can just run that. So I'll save as. Let me just make sure it's actually going to cut all the way through. Because we did raise the speed on this one. I'm just going to lower the speed just to make sure I'm cutting all the way through. But like I said, what I'll do is I'll save this as 3 guitar picks. And then I can get rid of these first two. And so we can redo this last one. Yeah, I'm not even sure if we cut all the way through, I'm going to be very honest. But I did slow it down a little bit for these other ones, so we should be good on that. Gary C says, any pointers for switching back and forth from engraving with the router and back to laser? So, guys, Dana's right. So you don't want dust in your laser. But what Abeku is working on right now, our co-op student, he's working with me with the LaserBeam stuff. I had a rough design for the magnetic mount done in the summer. So I gave that to him, and he's been working off that for the past like month. And so we should have something to release like within a month or 6 weeks. So we should have a magnetic mount very soon. So very soon you'll be able to just keep the magnetic mount on your router, throw the magnetic mount on. So it only takes 2 seconds to remove. And then also, we just posted, if you go to the laser resources under advanced, we now have G-sender offsets. So now if you like, yeah, so we'll be actually selling a magnetic mount for you guys very soon, so you guys can just pop it off. You guys can protect against particulate, but also you guys can swap over very quickly. And then also we have offsets in our laser resources under advanced. We show you how to use G-sender offsets. We show you what the offsets are based on your version of router mount, your size of router mount, and how you mount your laser. We should give you the offsets so that after you're done your router job, you can literally, if you input your offsets into G-sender, after you're done your router job, you switch over to laser, the zero will automatically move, and you put go to zero, and it'll move back to your, it'll put the laser at the where the old zero was. So wherever your router bit is, if you put in your offsets in G-sender that we give you, go read the resource page. And then you switch over to laser. Your laser's over here, but once you switch, it'll like move your laser to where your router is. So you can switch between that, and then with a magnetic mount, you're all good to go. It only takes 2 seconds to switch back and forth. Yeah, we might not have cut all the way through, I'm not gonna lie. I think I was just running it too fast. Like 3 millimeters per second is just too fast if I want to get it done in like 3 passes or 4 passes. Like I'm seeing the laser at the bottom, so I feel like it is cutting through, but acrylic does this thing where it likes to melt back together. So we might be able to pop it out, we might not. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a few things this year. So we just did the vortex mount. Next is the magnetic mount. After that is a new case, so it's easier to mount your laser beam and stuff like that. Then it'll be probably maybe a venting kit. So yeah, those are the stuff that I'm going to be working on, or at least managing the development on, because I like the idea of continuing to hire co-op students for the growth and add-ons of the laser beam, so that it never dies for people who need it. Just because I'm moving on, I still manage the product, but just because the majority of my time is being taken up by CO2 laser and might for the next little bit, doesn't mean that we should stop development on laser beam, because I know just some of you guys might not need the CO2 laser, and that's not fair that, we got a shiny new toy over here, and all of a sudden you guys don't get new add-ons and new developments and stuff like that. So I promise we're gonna keep the development on that. That's gonna be part. I'll never let this product die. It was my first product development. It was my first product developed with CNC Labs, so I will never let it die, no matter how many other products I work on, no matter how excited I am to work on other products. So keep that in mind. Magnetic mount coming in the next 6 to 8 weeks, guaranteed. I'm sorry, it's not a guarantee. Never guarantee anything. You never know. Yeah, but it will be coming in the next 6 to 8 weeks. That's my rough estimate. Dana, we are not that close, to be honest. There's still a few months of stuff. We're like just completing our version 1 of our prototype. We'll probably do a version 2, then a pre-production model. Then the pre-production model is what the beta testers are gonna get. So keep in mind, we're probably some months away. We gotta do compliance and stuff like that, because there's no point of having stuff beta tested if we don't know. Oh, so we finished our job. Our material fell through, so I'm stopping it. Yeah, there's no point in doing beta testing on a, there's no point of doing beta testing on a machine that we will have to make changes for compliance anyway. So it's just like prototype 1, prototype 2, pre-production model, compliance, and we don't need full compliance at that point. We can still be working on it, but we got to be pretty confident and close to it, and then we can get beta testers working. We can make those last minute changes. So, okay, raise that, 0 all that, and I'm gonna run this last pick. Nicholas says, how do you assure the laser magnetic mount always goes back to the same spot? Could you be more specific? Sorry, I'm a little bit, how do you make sure? Essentially, there'll be a bracket that sits on your router mount the entire time. And the laser, instead of you twisting M5s, it'll be you sliding the steel plate onto this like magnetic bracket. And there'll be like 2 aligners that essentially screw into the M5 holes that used to be your mounting holes, but now it'll be like more like aligning studs to your actual like original laser bracket mount. So these 2 little prongs will essentially allow you to align it, and because the plate itself is steel, the part that you're mounting to your actual router mount is going to be this little 3D printer with magnets on it, and then you're just using that to align to your two holes, and then as soon as you get close enough, it'll snap in, it'll lock. So right now we're going through deflection, we're testing deflection and all that stuff, and we're going to be testing the repeatability of it to make sure that whatever we give you guys is going to be good. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Like if you guys need 100% perfect, then like let's say you're doing one job where you need 100% perfect, then I'd probably just switch to the M5 bolts just for that one job. But if you want something that you can just pop off and it'll be 99.5% like repeatable, then this is going to be perfect. But we're going to do our best to make sure that it is very, very repeatable to the point where like you really won't be able to notice anyway. So unless you like truly need it, then okay, then maybe you might be able to notice. But in 99.5% of cases, you won't even notice, and it'll be perfect for the job. So I'm very excited. So we're all zeroed. This is the one that didn't cut out, or that one that got cut off by the old design. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to lower the speed just like I did the other ones. 80%. Oh, actually, for the engraving, we don't need to lower the speed. It's only once we're done, we'll do the cutting. So guys, as soon as this is done, we are just about done for this stream. So if you guys have any questions, definitely throw them in now before I get going. Very exciting stuff at CNC Labs. It's going to be a very exciting year. By the end of this year, you guys are going to be like, whoa, the shape of CNC Labs, the products that we're offering has changed completely with the SLB, the alt mill, the spindle that we're going to sell with the alt mill, the CNC router, the CO2 laser, all the development stuff that's going to happen with the LaserBeam, and as well as G-Sender. You guys are going to be like, whoa, the shape of this company has really exploded. I feel like every once in a while we have those years where we really push it on the development, and this is one of those years. So I'm very excited for that. I know you guys are very excited for that. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, this job will be done in just about a minute or two, and I will be showing you guys the results and then signing off. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. These LaserBeam lives are always fun. I'm very excited to start working on the CO2 LaserBeam lives, the CO2 laser lives. But that will be like pretty close to pre-order. Like we might do like 3 streams, like 4 streams, 4 weeks before pre-order. So you guys get like 4 streams, 1 per week, 4 weeks before we open the pre-order, so you guys can see exactly what you guys are buying. Dana asks, have you experienced any differences in the SLB versus the longboard? So for me, the differences are that I can use a micro USB to plug it in. It has its own off-on button as well as the e-stop, and you have the performance, like the buttons. I haven't really, like the performance aspect is like you get more, especially with the laser, you get more control over all your settings. Like you can control like the hertz, like the frequency in which like the signal of your PWM for the laser is being sent. You can control your top and your bottom ranges so much more accurately. You could control your max power with Gerbil How. Most of the performance stuff is going to be like very technical. I know that if you connect using the network cable, then your connection reliability goes up tenfold. Not to say like will already be more reliable than the longboard, so like you will experience no like disconnects. I've never experienced a disconnect with the super longboard, and if you guys obviously, you know, we're not gonna play dumb. You might have experienced a disconnect with the old longboard, but I can say confidently that I've never experienced a disconnect. It's such a rare. Like I think one time our beta tester experienced one after Chris told him to put it through the worst conditions ever, and it only happened like once, and he was able to find out why. So yeah, I'm not sure if this one cut all the way through. Hopefully it did. It did. Very nice. Got our 3 picks here. All right, let me show you guys the results. So obviously, if I was actually going to play the guitar with these, I probably would have made them a little bit thinner. Well, some people like different thicknesses for their picks, but I would sand the edges to make sure that they come to a nice little point. So I would use a little sandpaper or use a little belt sander, and I would get the edges pretty smooth so that I could have a nice little playing experience here. But I'm not playing the guitar so with these. I just want to show you guys. So this is our first one, the eyeball. Let me get the focus going, and I can show you guys. This is the first one, the eyeball. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. All right, let me get it even closer. There we go. So yeah, like I said, this has like this weird engraving quality where you can really see the design, but it looks really cool, especially in the light. Okay, that's number one. That's number two, Spider-Man. You can see how small these are, but you still have like a lot of detail. See, in the light, it looks incredible. And then the last one, nice little simple one. The Pick Me Pick. Very nice. Very cool. Simple little fun project for you guys. All right. That is it for me. Let me get back in focus here. How's that? That's looking nice. All right. That was a fun time. Easy project, fun project. It's always nice when a plan comes together. So that is the stream. Hopefully you guys had some fun. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys enjoyed spending a little bit of time with me, your boy. My name is Ikenna for CNC Labs, and you know the deal. Whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night, I appreciate you spending just a little bit of your time with me. Thank you so much for joining me. Hans, thank you for joining. Jack in the Shop, thank you for joining. Nicholas, thank you for joining. Gary C, thank you for joining. Bill S, thank you for joining. Doug E, thank you for joining. Dana, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Like the stream. Thank you so much, Dana, for reminding me. Like the stream. Justin Smith, I know, was in here before. Thank you for joining. Adam from Boco was here. Thank you for joining. If I missed you, I'm very sorry. Thank you for joining. I had a blast. Hopefully you did too. Like the stream. Before I sign off, I need you guys to like the stream. I'm going to give you guys like 10 seconds right now. Do your boy a favor. Like the stream. Yeah, we did it. We're good? Okay. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night. And I will catch you in 2 weeks on LaserBeam Live, episode number 41. Okay? So you guys have a great night. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.